All right. Welcome back to the Super Fantasy Bros podcast. We are now only 42 days away from kickoff of the NFL season, 6 weeks until we will have some NFL football back in our lives. And we are back today with our first division in the NFC as a part of our NFL division series. So for today's division, we'll be heading up north to break down the Packers, Bears, Lions, and the Vikings. So for each team, we'll be doing what we've been doing for the AFC. Some cap or no cap, some questions, as well as our bold takes and favorite targets. And we'll pick the division winner at the end of the show here. But before we dive in, we got some NFL news this past week. Michael Thomas is expected to miss 3 to 4 months, putting his latest return in week 10. Where are you drafting him, if you're drafting him at all?
Very late.
Very late. Someone's going to reach on him.
Very, very late.
Lazy.
Because who knows if he'll even come back this year.
Yeah, he's a lazy piece of shit. Could have gotten the surgery. They suggested to get a surgery at some point, and he waited months. And now he's just gonna be screwed coming back in mid-October, November. That's what they're predicting.
Yeah.
But I think if you're drafting him, you maybe hope that he goes outside round 9. Then I think it's fair game. I think he'd be a good pick then, because then when he gets closer to his return, if he returns, you can just use that as some sort of bait.
But the thing that scares me is that he might not even make a return, because I'm not really expecting the Saints to be fighting for a playoff spot. So if they're out of contention, why force your star receiver back coming off of a surgery, if you don't have to? Why not just keep him for the next season, have him fully healthy and ready to go?
You might as well punch another teammate in the face. Make that wait worthwhile.
Yeah. I think he definitely took a while to get the surgery. I don't know what was going on there. But if I'm drafting Michael Thomas, probably looking at round 10 or later, at the earliest. He could be a league winner on one hand. We know Michael Thomas is an elite talent. If he comes back and the Saints are still somewhat in the playoff hunt, they're going to throw the ball to him. But if he comes back in week 10 and the Saints are 2 or 3 wins, are they going to rush him back? Is he even going to come back? You might waste your 10th round pick. So it's high risk, high reward. Take the risk if you want to take it. I think I might take it if he falls far enough, but we shall see. But to replace Michael Thomas, they're looking at free agent wide receivers, and they looks like they signed Chris Hogan, who we mentioned last week on the podcast, or maybe 2 weeks ago when we were talking about the Patriots.
Yeah.
But we mentioned Chris Hogan, and now he's signed with the Saints. Does he have any fantasy value whatsoever?
There's so many better receivers out there they could have looked at, and they chose him.
Exactly.
That's the best they got.
Golden
I don't
Tate
think they're really
out there.
I don't think they're too concerned about it.
Yeah, that's bold. I don't know. Do you think Traquan Smith and Marquez Callaway can really hold down the fort?
No. The quarterback.
Hell no. It's going to be the Alvin Kamara show.
Yeah. It's probably going to – their game plan has to switch to somewhat of good defense and run the ball. And I'm scared they might switch to Taysom Hill, and that offense is going to be even weirder.
And we saw Kamara struggle with Taysom Hill.
Yeah, a couple bad games with him, a couple good games. So it's kind of a mixed bag. Definitely would prefer Jameis, but let's get into the NFC North, and let's start off with the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings just signed D.D. Westbrook on Sunday. Is this noteworthy at all, or is he irrelevant at this point in his career?
Pretty irrelevant.
Yeah, that's just noise.
I'm sure he'll have those games where he scores a touchdown and gets everyone hyped. It's gonna be like a waiver wire target next week. Dud. So yeah, I'm not really looking at him. Or this has no impact on anybody.
That's
a lot of noise.
The wide receiver 3 on the team last year was BD, right?
They have BB, and then they have BC Johnson. I don't know. BB was probably the most interesting one, but irrelevant.
He had 20 receptions.
Yeah.
There's not many targets to go around there when you have Thielen and JJF on opposite sides.
And Dalf.
And
Kyle Rudolph.
And I expect Irv Smith to have a jump in production as well. So, yeah, this D.D. Westbrook signing really isn't for us fantasy players, more for the team itself.
Yep, definitely agree there. Moving on to Matt's jersey, would you consider drafting Dalvin Cook as the number 1 player in fantasy? I guess Matt can start us off here.
Matt,
of course.
Stop it.
You would be silly to not. He only finished 40 points behind the number 1 running back last year, and that was Alvin Kamara. and he missed, I believe, a game and a half. I mean, their numbers were like almost identical as to total numbers. Obviously, Kamara runs away with the receiving work, but we've seen Dalv be explosive catching the ball out of the backfield last year. Just like he had that 50-yard touchdown catch against, I believe it was the Packers. And that was week he went absolutely bonkers for 50 points. So, I mean, yeah. And especially with Christian McCaffrey coming off injury, I mean, there's a little concern there. And with the whole Saints offense being shaken up, I see no problem taking Dalv.
I was not entertained by that.
Yeah, I think it's not even like you're not hoping that Christian McCaffrey comes back the same. I think he's going to come back the same. He's like just an animal. So I'm still taking him over Dalvin Cook. I would take Dalvin Cook. And do you mean number one fantasy player, like
running back
in general, overall?
No,
number one, like the number one pick overall.
Yeah,
why not?
You're taking a running back first either way. So I don't think that's
you don't
changing
know about
much.
that.
Unless you're taking Devontae Adams or Tyreek Hill and you're throwing that, or unless you're a QB guy. But in one QB leagues, definitely don't take a QB in the
Hey, listen, by all means, you guys let Dow fall. I'll take him wherever.
He's not falling that far.
Yeah, I'm not saying don't draft him.
You guys are making it seem like he's going to fall off a cliff this year.
All right. I'd consider drafting him at 1, but I'd probably only take McCaffrey over him, just like you. I'd have him at 2, personally.
Yeah,
I
feel that.
Would I look at you sideways if you took Dalvin Cook at number 1? No.
I would.
I don't think you're crazy.
Just a little till like.
Nah,
Like when you tell your,
I'd be like, that's your guy.
Treat. When you ask your dog if they want a treat.
I hope Matt gets first pick.
All right, we shall see. We'll see if he.
I hope I get first pick because it'll be my birthday. I'm gonna trade it.
Why would you trade it? All right. Anyways, moving on to the next question here: is Kirk Cousins being underdrafted after finishing QB 11 last year with the weapons he has?
Yes, indeed.
I want to hate on him, but he did put up good numbers last year. The floor is there. The ceiling, I guess, could be high because of the receivers that he has. But
sorry, for context, he is currently being drafted as QB 18.
18?
Jesus, yeah, he's being underdrafted.
All right, yeah, I changed my mind.
Yeah, I think he's being underdrafted a little bit as well. I have him at 14. I think that's kind of where he should be going in most
15.
leagues.
He's still Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to have his woes here and there, but like Sean said, with those weapons around him, it's going to be hard for him not to succeed.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely draft Kirk Cousins, especially as like I think he's like a borderline QB1, but he could be a QB2. Definitely a solid QB2 on your bench.
Mm-hmm.
Last question here before we get into some cap or no cap. Are you targeting Irv Smith Jr. in drafts, and would you be comfortable with him as your only tight end?
As long as your name's Sean Gill, probably. But my name's not Sean Gill, so I'm probably not going to be comfortable with him as my only tight end.
Yeah.
I don't even have him inside the top 12.
I feel like there's only like 5 or 6 names that you could be comfortable with as your only tight end, and Irv Smith Jr. is not one. I mean, you're always gonna have to pair your tight end up with someone unless you have like one of the 5 studs.
Yeah, I've got Irv Smith Jr. at tight end 12, so right at the end of the tight end 1. His ADP is actually tight end 11, ahead of Mike Gesicki. So the hype is definitely building around him a little bit as pretty much the third pass catching option there. I like Irv Smith. I'm definitely drafting him, but I would probably want to pair him with another tight end just in case. Maybe like a Gronk or something like that.
Ooh, Gronky.
That's tasty.
I like Gronk.
Yeah, gotta like Gronk. All right.
Just playing based off matchups.
Yeah, exactly. All right, cap or no cap, Justin Jefferson is being overdrafted at wide receiver 7, 22nd overall.
No cap.
No cap. All right, good. I'm glad we all agreed on that.
I have
all around the board.
I have him at 10th right now, probably 9 because I'm going to be pushing Michael Thomas back. But Kirk Cousins, is the quarterback, and he's being drafted as wide receiver 7, and people being drafted after him are Keenan Allen, Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin. I think I would take at least 2 of those 3 guys. Keenan Allen for sure.
And they are also like the workhorse receiver on their team. People forget that Adam Thielen is also still on the Vikings, finished 10th last year in fantasy points among wide receivers. So I don't know. I think his value, he's definitely being overvalued at the wide receiver 7 position.
I'm going to say Cap just because I'm always Mr. Technical. I got Justin Jefferson as my wide receiver 7. So I'm taking him as the 7th wide receiver off the board. He was wide receiver 6 last year as a rookie, 1,400 receiving yards. I think Thielen is still going to be involved, no doubt. But I think Justin Jefferson has kind of solidified himself as the number 1 guy here.
You'd rather have him over AJ Brown?
Yeah, I have AJ Brown at 11.
Keenan?
Oh my God.
I have Keenan at 6. So I have Keenan over him. I have Justin Jefferson at 7. I have McLaurin at 8. DK Metcalf 9. AJ Brown 10, actually. Allen Robinson 11.
Yeah, I would probably take all those guys over Justin Jefferson. McLaurin's iffy, but the other ones, sure.
Yeah, I got him at 7. I like Justin Jefferson. He's got a lot of upside. I think he was so good last year. I don't see why he would drop anymore. Obviously, he could be like a low end wide receiver 1, but he still has upside for me to be top 5. So
don't forget those couple of duds he had last year.
I won't, but he was a rookie.
The first
second
2
year,
weeks,
he could feast.
Yeah,
dude. I drafted him. Everyone said, "Who's that?" I said, "It's Diggs' replacement." And then,
You're right.
And then he did terrible the first 2 weeks.
And
I dropped him.
oh,
Absolute pain.
Oh, that's a bad job.
That's a hurt piece right there.
Yeah.
All right, next cap or no cap. Counterpart here. Adam Thielen is being underdrafted at wide receiver 19th, 49th overall.
Cap.
No bet.
No bat.
Yeah,
Thielen
I would
only
agree with
finished
you
with
guys.
20 less fantasy points than Justin Jefferson on less targets. And since Sean wants to be technical, technically he had 1 game more. He had 7 games with 20 plus fantasy points. Justin Jefferson only had 6. So, I mean, the ceilings are kind of really equivalent. I mean, I know Thielen's turning, I believe, 31 this year. So he's getting up there in age. But, I mean, last year he really didn't show any signs of slowing down very much. So I like Thielen at his value better than Jefferson where he's being drafted.
Yeah, he finished wide receiver 10. I just worry that he had back issues or something. But that's something getting older that could linger. But I'm kind of just picking hairs here. I think Thielen is definitely the better value pick, and only finishing 3 spots behind him last year. Nothing's really changed in that offense, I think.
I mean, my concern with him is his touchdown dependency. He had 14 touchdowns last year. I don't think he does that again.
Yeah, he definitely is a big red zone target there. I know they like to throw it to him there. Somebody's got to catch touchdowns from Kirk Cousins, but honestly, 14 is a lot. It's really tough to repeat. So you could see some regression. He loses 4 of those touchdowns. He drops a few spots. But I still think that still puts him as a top 15 wide receiver, whereas he's still being drafted at wide receiver 19. So I think he's still being a little underdrafted.
Definitely is.
But he's definitely the better value too, especially compared to where Jefferson's being taken. If you can get Thielen, who could be similar production a few rounds later, it's definitely worth it. All right, last cap or no cap. Alexander Madison should be owned in 100% of fantasy leagues. Cap or no cap?
No
cap. 200%. If you're a Dalvin Cook owner, 100% regardless, because Cook's missed at least 1 game each season of his career. He missed like all of them except for that one year when he got hurt. But yeah, definitely there's a risk there. So Madison had a good game and he had a bad game when Cook was out for that. He had a good game when
Pissed me off.
He had the good game when Cook was like out the rest of the game, and then the whole game
he like went off the second half of the game where Cook got hurt, and then the next game I'm like, all right, bet Madison, I'm not gonna fall off that much. I think he had like 4 points.
Yeah,
he
was like ranked RB1 that week. People were like, yeah, Madison, garbage.
Yeah,
but he's good.
Top 5 handcuff. Make sure you grab him in every league because in some leagues people forget about handcuffs, and he's definitely worth owning. Any of the top 5 running backs could get injured. It's always worth having a top 5 running back handcuff.
Yep.
All right, let's get into our bold takes and favorite targets. You're pretty spicy, so I guess I'll let you start it off here.
Is it spicy? I mean, for
some, it's a little spicy.
All right,
this is super spicy.
So the first half is a little spicy, and then the second half is super spicy. So let's just get into it.
We're talking about Justin Jefferson. Some of us feel better about him than others. Me, personally, I'm not feeling the best about him. I think that he falls outside of top 12 this year. I'm not going to give a specific number because then that's a little too specific. So we'll just say outside top 12. It could be 13. But I think Devontae Smith, who's going to be this year's Justin Jefferson, not just being an Eagles fan, I think there's potential there. He's supposed to be so good. So I think he's going to finish over Justin Jefferson, whether that be 12 and Jefferson's 13, or there's a bigger gap where Devontae Smith's 11 and Jefferson's 17. I'm solely based off my opinion because I don't have any evidence of Devontae Smith, but I think it's there.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to have evidence for a rookie, but super spicy take, Q. I like it though.
Super
Stay
spicy.
bold. All right, you guys, what do you got?
All right, Matt. I'm sorry. I'm
Lay it
sorry,
on me.
Matt. But Dow finishes under where he's being drafted at, which is number 2. But say if you draft him number 3, I think he might finish below that too. I don't know, but I think he's being a little bit overvalued. So I got some decent stats for you though.
I want to hear him.
All right, well, I just want to get this out the way. I love Dalv. I think he's very good. He's very talented. But I think he may have peaked last year with his 17 touchdowns, 1,900 all-purpose yards. But he only had 44 receptions. I don't know if that's enough to keep up with people like Christian McCaffrey. We saw him go for 100 twice. Saquon, he had 91 one year. Kamara, 81, 81, 81, 83 in his past 4 years.
So consistent.
We saw Eckler of 92. So there's a lot of people that, their receptions are going to come to them, and Dalv's might trickle away down there, down to 2, down to 3,
That's
4,
all right.
the 4 spot, maybe down to the 5 spot. I don't know, but and he's compete with like Derrick Henry. He had how many yards last year? Like a million yards last year. 17 touchdowns.
How many receptions?
18, I think.
Oh, all right.
I'm just saying. That's a lot of yards and a lot of touchdowns. That's just another
is.
competitor. I'm just throwing it out there.
I will say though, like you're feeling good about Dalvin Cook because in about like 10 or so games he had over 24 touches. So he's the workhorse back on that team.
Of course.
But yeah, the reception could
He's getting his touches one way or another.
that could fill the gap.
I ain't
for the
worried
missed
about his
catches, but-
volume.
That's not the concern here. We're also concerned about his injury history.
Last season, he missed a game and a half.
Hold on now. 2017 missed 12 games.
All right,
2018
we gonna
missed
bring
5
up all-
games. 2019 missed 2 games. Last year, 1 game.
It's been
But
getting better and better. He's on the up and up.
Yeah, if you look at it that way.
Since when is missing any game good?
Yeah. I mean,
And
see where you're
there's an
coming
extra
from.
game this year. Are they going to sit him a little bit for the playoff run?
No,
Yeah, some
because
time
they're going to be
management.
fighting for that playoff spot.
Okay.
Do you think there'll be football time management or load management?
There's
Sorry.
no such thing.
yeah,
This is
that's
a
kind of
man's
what
sport.
split backfields are. That's what coaches do when they
I mean,
do.
for like other positions, like do you think Tom Brady would sit a game just for load management?
No, definitely not. Definitely not the quarterbacks. Could you imagine sitting?
Imagine-
There's not enough
I'm
games.
not saying they're going to bench him, but I'm just
No.
saying he might, they might
I
want to
yeah,
keep
you're-
him healthy.
You're saying
I
he could fall a
respect
couple spots. Maybe he's not
That's
the
fine.
RB2 is what you're saying. I hear you. Definitely could happen.
I'm not
Um,
saying he's going to be like outside the top 10. I'm just saying if you're going to go pick him number 1, number 2,
So just be careful.
test
Be
your luck.
cautious.
Be cautious.
All right, Matt, what do you got for us?
All right, man. I feel like we barely touched on this player aside from him being underdrafted, which he is being very underdrafted, and that's Kirk Cousins. Finished QB 11 last year. He had a rookie receiver, made it work. He had over 4,000 yards, 35 touchdowns, only 13 interceptions, which is kind of impressive for Kirk Cousins. But the one concern I do have is he was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL. I think he got sacked like 39 times, which is outrageous. It's not worse than whoever got sacked like a million times last year. I forget who it was. But if that O-line,
Wentz?
yeah, it was. I think. Wait, it might have been Wentz. It was one
Either
of the
or.
two. But back to Kirk McGurk. As long as his offensive line can kind of just protect him a little bit better, I don't see him not squeezing into the top 10. He has all the weapons around him to do it. One of the best run games in the league. 2 top 20 wide receivers in the league easily. So he's just poised for success, and I see him having a very good year this year, building off his year last year.
Yeah, definitely could see that happening. Kirk Cousins is solid. He's just super underrated because he's Kirk Cousins. It's not
Yeah,
sexy.
it's an ugly name.
Yeah, definitely not like a popular pick.
You like that?
You like that? Yeah, no, I don't like that. But I like to take that. I respect it. All right, I'll finish this off here. Irv Smith Jr. will be a top 10 tight end this year. He is only 22, turns 23 in a couple of weeks here. Super young, super talented tight end. Kind of was stuck behind Kyle Rudolph the last couple of years here in his first couple seasons. But he's a good receiving tight end. And I think now with Kyle Rudolph gone, not really a threat as like a third wide receiver, like we already mentioned. Like D.D. Westbrook, I don't think he's going to come in and take away a bunch of targets from Irv Smith Jr. So if you're grabbing a tight end late, he's definitely my target to go for. I think he finishes as a top 10 tight end. He's got a lot of talent, and he's finally going to get some good opportunity to catch some passes this year. We've seen Kyle Rudolph be successful in the past. So grab Irv Smith Jr. He's going to be solid this year.
I like it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like it, but
top 10, baby.
Yeah, top. Shut the hell up.
Lock it in.
Isn't Q the one who said Tim Tebow was going to finish top 10?
No, said top 15.
Oh,
still 15. Terrible.
Yeah,
he'll finish over Irv Smith.
Oh my God, I'll bet that right now.
No,
bet
I'm
my
not
life.
that confident.
All right. Detroit Lions.
Yeah, we'll be quick with this.
Yeah, we might have to be a little
speed
quick
round.
with this. This team is not looking too hot. Let's start it off here. Would you consider drafting Jared Goff this year, even if it's as a backup?
No.
No shot.
I will not even have him on any of my rankings lists. So he will be forgotten about and a thought in the not even the back of my mind.
Yeah,
just in the trash.
He wasn't even a viable option when he had a better team in Los Angeles with.
I don't get how his receivers did so good, but he was just still so bad.
He had a season, I think, where he was like viable starter, but yeah, he was not consistent enough.
Definitely not going to have a good start when his first 5 opponents are the 49ers, the Packers, the Ravens, the Bears, and the Vikings. So
yikes.
He might be QB 50 after weeks
5 easy. Yeah, not drafting Jared Goff. Got him a QB 28. Not touching him.
No.
That wide receiver core is ugly.
I wouldn't even draft him on T-God's team.
Thank you. It means a lot.
You're welcome.
All right. Looking at the rest, there are some interesting pieces here. So where do you have DeAndre Swift ranked, and what do you think his ceiling is this year?
I have him at 11, but I think, like, I was like, okay, he's going to be the bright spot of this team. But, like, now I'm thinking about it, the addition of Jamal Williams, it's going to push him down a little more. And just that team isn't so great. They did get Penei Sewell, I think, in the draft, the lineman. So for what that's worth, but I don't know. I think I'm moving down Swift. His ceiling is all right. And when they
it's all right, not a number.
after picking up Jamal Williams, they also they interviewed Todd Gurley for a position, so they look like they're going to be like a committee. So they're not going to be just one guy. Either way, it was going to be Jamal Williams and Swift. Now it could have been Jamal Williams, Swift, and a third guy. So I don't know.
Yeah, I like Swift. Go ahead, Matt.
I was about to say, I feel like DeAndre Swift's going to have a hard time finding production because I feel like defenses are going to try and force Jared Goff to throw because they know he's not the best quarterback in the world, and the receivers that they have in Detroit are us. They might as well have us there. So I think they're just going to pressure, bring a lot of blitzing. And, I mean, if DeAndre Swift can do it on his own, I'm not doubting him, but I'm just saying it's going to be very tough for him to see some production with that team around him.
I think he might catch some passes, though. In 2017 and 2018, Jared Goff, looking at Gurley, 87 times and 81 times. So he'd be doing that.
Hopefully it's not for the game-winning touchdown.
Now he has, he did drop that. But, yeah, now he has, I'll get into Swift in a little bit, but he does have, I don't even know where I was going with that train of thought there. Jared Goff doesn't have any weapons compared to what he had in LA. So he's going to have to throw to Swift more.
Yeah.
My brain just exploded. All right. It's because we're talking about the Lions. Are you nervous at all about drafting TJ Hawkinson with how rough this team looks on paper?
I'm not really.
No, he's going to be, I think he'll be a top 5 tight end.
Yeah.
Number 5. But
Jared Goff really never threw to the tight end in St. Louis. Not St. Louis, LA. Sorry.
I think he played in St. Louis one year. I think he's here.
Probably, actually.
Hawkinson's way better than Higbee or Gerald Everett. As much as I like him, I think he's the best receiving guy on this team. I think he'll be looked at often.
By far.
Yeah, you're just going to see a ton of volume. So I don't think you have to be scared. I mean, there's probably going to be a couple of weeks where this team just does absolutely nothing. Might put up a donut as a whole, and that's going to hurt a little bit. But other than that, Hawkinson's going to be a volume monster. So that's what you want in fantasy.
That's another thing with Swift. Like they could just be a lot of low scoring games, or they're just not scoring a lot, so they're going to be down. Hawkinson could be the guy on the Lions you'd want besides Swift, because they could just be throwing to Jamal Williams. He's the receiving back. Well, they both are, but I don't know.
Yeah, for sure. So cap or no cap, getting into this, continuing TJ Hawkinson talk. TJ Hawkinson has a wide range of outcomes this year, from a possible top 5 tight end to outside the top 15.
Cap. I think the lowest he'll finish is 10.
I'm going to say no cap.
I'm torn. I think he could struggle a little bit just because his team is that bad. But I think I'm kind of leaning towards Q. I think his outcome is top 5 at the minimum, maybe 12.
Volume
but
is all
probably most likely top 10. I don't think you
Usually
can miss with him.
Just need a little volume.
Yeah.
Little volume.
There's just going to be too much volume for him to not get that much compared to all the other tight ends. Like tight ends don't see enough volume. He might get the most targets out of all of them just because there's no one else to throw to.
Might be eating too much. Cut back on the volume. Too loud.
All right. No one in this wide receiver core should be drafted in general. None of them will finish top 50.
No cap.
Or
No
no
cap.
cap.
No cap.
Dude.
Not even worth talking about him.
Yeah, no cap. Move on.
No cap. I agree. If there's one I'd like, it would be the rookie, Amon-Ra St. Brown, I think his name is.
And that's only because we don't know if
that's only because he's a rookie, I feel like.
Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason I would feel that way.
Tyrell Williams is good for about 5 plays.
Yeah,
and he's done for
like
the year.
one game.
Exactly. Same thing for
175
Rashad
yard
Perriman
touchdown.
too. So, yeah, it's scary. Scary hours for the Lions wide receiver core.
Yeah.
All right. Last cap or no cap, Jamal Williams will cut into DeAndre Swift's workload more than AP did last year. And AP had 168 touches. Cap or no cap?
Yeah, that's no cap because AP is a lot older than Jamal Williams, and Jamal Williams did amazing on the Packers with Aaron Jones, sometimes better than Aaron Jones. So I think he'll definitely be cut again, and cutting a lot more than AP did.
I agree with you there, Q.
I don't want to agree, but I do.
Yeah, it's close. Swift really didn't get that much work last year. So Swift had, I think, 50 less carries than AP had. But obviously he had more receptions. So Swift would be the guy I would definitely obviously want here. But like in terms of like volume, I think he's going to see a lot more this year than he did last year. So I don't think Jamal like gets a 50-50 timeshare. So I'm actually going to say cap. I think Jamal probably gets like 130-ish. I think he has a little bit less.
I always looked at Swift as like Dobbins, where these older guys are just taking over the work that he should be getting. So, and then I did not know that he had that many less carries or snaps, was it, than AP?
Yeah, he had 114 carries last year, and 46 catches. And then Adrian Peterson had, I believe, 156 carries. So AP was like the starter at the start of last year. If you remember, people were still drafting Swift because they knew he'd take over. And he was also the PPR guy. So I like Swift. I think he's going to get a lot more work this year. I think he gets over 200 plus touches, and Jamal Williams is kind of like the change of pace guy more than 50-50. Yeah. All right. Bold takes, favorite targets. Let's get through the Lions here. What do you got?
I don't have a favorite target on this team, and my take isn't so bold. I think Jared Goff finishes outside the top 30 quarterbacks. ADP currently quarterback 30, and 2 behind him that are like notable, I guess, is Jameis Winston and Sam Darnold, who at least Sam Darnold, I think, will have a much better season than Jared Goff. So that's almost a guarantee. Winston, we'll see, but I don't see any reason why Goff would finish inside the top 30.
Yeah,
I agree.
Definitely agree there. All right, T-Gods, what do you got for us?
All right. Certainly not bold, but the only rosterable people on this team are Swift and Hawkinson. If you're drafting anyone else on the Lions, you're messing up.
I'd be with you.
Yeah. You don't want to do that. And I also want to add a little note here that last season, 26% of like the plays. Like every single play that they had, 26% of them either went to Swift or Hawkinson. And now there's no Marv and no Kenny. So that number's only going to go up.
It's going to be 100.
And if they win games, they're gonna have no kneecaps because their coach is Dan Campbell. Isn't he the kneecap guy?
And they're going to have scoliosis from carrying the
His
team.
first interview, he talked about ripping kneecaps or biting
Yeah.
kneecaps.
Oh,
Yeah, he's a wild boar, dude. This whole team is a wild card with him as the coach now. So I don't know what's going to go on.
They went from Fat Patricia to this Dan Campbell.
Yeah, he is bulky and he's full of energy. This team is going to be very different from last year, but I still think it's going to be just as bad. All right, Matt, what do you got?
All right. I'm going to keep mine plain and simple, short and sweet. The Lions will be the worst team in the league. They will finish with the worst record. Worse than the Jets, worse than the Jags.
Worse than the Texans.
Than the Texans, yes. Even with Tyrod Taylor.
I need to see Texans-Lions game.
Texans-Lions would be
On Thanksgiving,
Texans, Jets.
please.
Sunday night.
Texans-Jets, baby.
Week 11. Can't wait.
Can't
We
wait.
should have that game in London.
They should.
They really should. All right, I'll finish us off here. Probably the only player outside of Hawkinson to talk about. DeAndre Swift finishes top 10. I don't think it's that bold. I have him at 14. Like I mentioned already, he didn't get that much work last year and was still super productive. 46 catches in only 13 games, and I think he only started 10 of them. So DeAndre Swift is going to be the featured back here. Most likely, Jamal Williams is obviously going to be mixed in, like we mentioned, but I think he's going to have at least 60 plus catches. Goff's going to have no one to throw to. I don't think the wide receivers are going to be able to get much separation. So I think there's going to be a lot of dump offs to Swift, a lot of different ways to try and keep Swift involved in the offense. Swift easily is going to have the volume to get to top 10. It's just a matter of if this team's going to be able to even open up holes for him on the O-line and compete in general in the NFL. I think it's just going to be a rough year all around, but Swift's volume is going to be there. So grab him. We'll finish top 10.
Okay.
Listening to you.
I don't believe it.
I believe it. I
Another
believe
bold
it.
take that I'm not believing.
You got him at RB 11 right now.
Yeah, but I'm ready to.
If you want to
bump him
get
down.
technical, Sean, if you want to get technical, it's not top 10.
Yeah.
I know I got him at 14,
Mhm.
but I think he definitely has the potential to finish top 10. I think he's got that upside. All
I
right.
don't doubt it.
Today's sponsor is the Thrive Fantasy app for iOS and Android. Make sure you download the Thrive Fantasy app. We do have the extension here. If you want to sign up, if you're here live with us on Twitch, it's right below. But if not, Thrive Fantasy app, daily fantasy sports app, go download it for player props. You can set daily fantasy sports lineups. You can do some sports betting on there as well. So if you download it today, use our promo code SUPERFB. That is SUPERFB. You deposit $20 or more, you will receive an instant $50 bonus. Go check out the Thrive Fantasy app today. Make sure you get that installed before football season. Got a lot of interesting prop bets there leading up to the season, so make sure you check it out. Also, merch still on sale for another week. Super Fantasy Bros merch. We got multiple colors. The link is right below here, as well as in our bio on Instagram, Twitter, whatever. It's pretty much everywhere. It's not hard to find. Fill out the form. We'll get you a shirt. Make sure you fill that out. They will be gone next Thursday. That'll be the last day to order one. So make sure you get those orders in. Get that first edition merch.
You do not want to miss out. We've made it to perfection. You will be dripping all the raining parts of summer, not sweat.
Yep, exactly. All right, let's get into the Chicago Bears before we get into the Packers here.
Go Bears.
First question for you guys. The Bears just traded away Anthony Miller to the Texans on Sunday. Does this affect how you view their wide receiver core? Are you moving up Darnell Mooney or even Allen Robinson with some targets being opened up?
Yeah, I'm thinking about
Moving
putting
both
Mooney
up a little
over
bit.
Allen Robinson now.
What?
Ooh,
I'm just
spicy.
kidding.
Oh
Jim.
my
I would never
God.
say that.
I
Dude,
knew
You
he
just
was
said
kidding.
it.
don't joke like that.
Could you imagine moving him up that high?
But I'm not really like too excited. I'm not any more excited than I was about it. Just, Allen Robinson's the guy that you want. Anthony Miller or Darnell Mooney is just like a dart throw. Unfortunately, I don't think he's gonna
I
be.
think he's going to be a little bit better than the dart throw, my guy.
More,
Me
a little
too.
bit better.
All
a
right,
little
so
bit
throw
better.
2 darts at the bullseye, big bullseye.
Yeah, I like Mooney. I think it moves him up a bit for sure. Anthony Miller was kind of in the way last year, just taking up some targets. I think this moves Mooney as the wide receiver 2 on this team for sure. Obviously, there's a lot to go around here. They got obviously a top 5 running back last year. Probably not a top 5 running back again, but still, you never know. It's a lot of volume there. And A-Rob's still the number 1. But I think Mooney definitely should move up a little bit. I moved him to, I think, 46. But I think he's got a lot of upside. And based on his ADP, you can get him pretty late. So I like Mooney for sure.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Next question here. Will Andy Dalton finish this season as the QB1 for this team? And if not, when do you think Justin Fields takes over?
I really wish he doesn't start the season, but he most likely will. And they're just going to use it as their excuse will be something about like letting Fields watch and get some experience. But you get the experience playing the damn game. I think Fields starts by week 3 because like Matt Nagy's job's on the line, the general manager's job is on the line. They need to get this right. And they don't have a lot of rope to climb. Sorry, I don't know what I might have just made that up. But yeah, if they see Dalton struggling early, they'll definitely just have to put in Fields.
Yeah, I think what Q was trying to say that Dalton is on a short leash.
Yeah, that rope to climb. No, Dalton might
shorter
have a
rope
long
to climb.
Dalton has it's not about Dalton's leash, it's about the rest of the management's leash. Because they know they're fired if they can't get this year. But they have an all-star caliber defense, and they're just going to waste it away because they can't get the right quarterback in.
I don't know. Their defense has kind of been falling off. It
It's
hasn't
still
been
top.
what it used to be.
Still pretty solid, though.
Elite.
Why do you want to start Andy Dalton in the first place, though? I don't.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I guess
Throw
they
the rookie
signed-
out there.
sense to
Let him
me.
get the experience.
Yeah.
They signed them, tweeted out these QB1, then they draft Justin Fields.
Yeah, I don't know. I think Justin Fields might start QB1 week 1.
That's what I'm thinking.
It easily could happen. We'll see what progresses over preseason. If he starts making some flashy plays and he looks like he's ready to go, I would not be shocked if they said, you know what, we're going to make the switch. We're going to put Fields in week 1. But I think at worst, probably like week 5 or 6, I think they might just start with Dalton, realize it's not going too well, and throw Fields out there.
Yeah, they might start like 0-3 and be like, all right, this was a bad idea.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a little bit scary. Are people moving too fast on the Cole Kmet breakout train? Is Jimmy Graham going to continue to split receiving work with him this year?
I don't
Yes.
know how he's still
Yes
on this
and
damn
yes.
team.
What do you mean? The man
Like,
had 8 touchdowns
no,
last year. He is a
he-
red zone monster.
He would have a dud, then 2 touchdown game. Maybe another 1 touchdown game, then a couple blanks, then another 2 touchdowns. So like
Well, he helps the Chicago Bears win games, so there is no way that they don't keep him involved in that offense.
on the depth
Yeah.
chart, he's tight end 2. So I guess they're rolling with Komet to start, but I'm sure there'll be some sort of share.
Yeah.
There.
There's definitely going to be, I guess you could call it a tight end
Well,
timeshare.
two tight end set type stuff.
Yeah, I agree. I think I'm not drafting Cole Kmet this year, unless it's dynasty, obviously.
Mhm.
Jimmy Graham's still going to be a vital part of this offense. I mean, he was tight end 13 last year. He's a big red zone guy. I think Kmet obviously gets a little bit more work this year. They kind of mix him in more, especially if he's building a rapport with Fields as on the second unit right now throughout training camp and whatnot. But I think Jimmy Graham's still going to be involved. Too much to draft either of them, pretty much. I don't think I want any Bears tight end on my fantasy team this year.
Yeah.
In
Hate to
redraft.
break it to you, Q, but Jimmy Grandpa is here to stay.
Oh,
No,
yeah.
Just for this year.
I love Jimmy Graham. I it's just insane that he's still on the team. Like there's no news about him resigning or going to a new team. He's just on the Bears.
He's
again.
just there.
He's just on the Bears.
He's
and
a
old.
volunteer.
Volunteer. He's a coach now.
I think he
All
was I loved him more than Gronk. I used to.
Not last year.
Gronk, yeah, well, no, Gronk's the guy now.
You loved Gronk last year. Not excited to talk about Gronk again when we get to the Bucks.
I need a big week 1 performance. Like go off.
All right, cap or no cap? Switching gears here. David Montgomery's top 5 finish last season was an anomaly, and he will not finish inside the top 20 this season. Cap or no cap?
Cap.
At top 20?
Yeah, that's the
You
cap
could have
part.
been said like top 15. Make it a little bit more interesting.
All
I
right,
think
top 15. Switch it. He's gonna
Cap.
be-
Still cap.
Cap.
Where do you guys have him ranked?
I have Monty at 12.
My rankings
I
are
have
destroyed.
him at 21.
Yeah, my rankings are
My
horrible
rankings-
Dude, you
right
got him
now.
outside the top 20. How you gonna say cap?
I know. I just had to reread. I forgot. But I think the signing of Damian Williams hurts because now there's no Cordell Patterson, who was like the RB2 on this team. And Cohen will eventually come back, maybe not week 1, but I think that's significantly going to decrease the amount of work that Montgomery had last year, which was insane. He was finished top 5, and we were hating on him halfway through the season until like he actually started, because he was getting the most like insane amount of volume, and he wasn't doing anything. And then suddenly he just did, and he dealt with the quarterback switch, whether it's Foles or Trubisky. He still put up crazy numbers, but I just don't think he was going to repeat that. I think he's going to be what we thought he was coming into last year.
Yeah, he had a really good season last year, but we called it last year, like leading into the last 5 games or so there, the season where like he had super juicy matchups, played pretty much all the worst run defenses in the league, and went off every week.
I think he was my league winner.
Yeah, and that helped a lot of people win their leagues. Number 1, number 2 helped him get up to RB4 where he finished. I got him at 17. He's definitely one of my favorite RB2 targets, but I do think he comes down to earth a little bit. Definitely not outside the top 20, but I still think he has the upside to be top 10, but I don't think it's a guarantee whatsoever.
Don't worry.
I do think it was a little bit more of an anomaly for me.
I'll sway you guys in a little bit.
All right, I'm ready to hear it.
All
right, cap or no cap? Allen Robinson will finish as a top 10 wide receiver again this season and should be drafted as a top 10 guy.
No cap. Just hope that Andy Dalton gets his ass off the field ASAP.
I don't think it really matters who his quarterback is.
But I understand that.
A good quarterback.
He played with Bortles.
All right, I understand that. But Andy Dalton you saw how much he brought down Amari Cooper, CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, but there's 3 good guys there, dude.
Allen Robinson really has never had a really good quarterback.
Never has.
Sucks. But I mean, Andy Dalton's just that bad.
He hurts all.
I think you're hating on Dalton a little bit. Yeah.
I'm just going based off
last year and Trubisky.
Going based
Is he that much worse?
He made he wasn't his receivers good. A lot worse.
But he also didn't play that much. He got banged up after like 1 or 2 games.
Yeah,
Trent DiNucci.
I don't know. I just don't trust Dalton. But I still got to go A-Rob top 10 regardless. But Dalton makes me a little bit more nervous, as if Fields was the clear-cut starter week 1.
Yeah, definitely want Fields to be in a little bit more. But I have A-Rob at 11, so kind of cap. But I still think he obviously should be drafted as a wide receiver 1 if you're playing in a 12-team league. Technically, he's on the borderline, but he's top 10 guy.
That's a technical foul.
Cap or no cap, Justin Fields should be drafted as a backup in every league because he has top 15 upside with the offense he is on.
Cap 15 is still kind of high, but we preach that quarterbacks with the running ability is important fantasy, and he sure has. He might be like I'd say he's the second most skilled quarterback coming out of this draft, behind Trev.
D-Law.
Yeah, he's definitely up there. His current ADP, I think, is like QB 18 or something, 18 or 19. So like people are drafting him as their backup. I definitely think he should be owned in a lot of leagues. I have him a little bit lower than that, but if I'm obviously in Dynasty, you're drafting him, but even in redraft, if you're drafting Kyler Murray or whoever your QB1 is, grab Justin Fields, throw him on your bench. If he comes in, starts producing as well, you got a nice trade chip, kind of like Justin Herbert last year too, for a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth a shot for me. Give him a shot. He's got top 15
I'll give
upside.
him a shot.
Good guys to throw to, good offense, solid offensive line. Give me Justin Fields.
All right, fine.
All right, Q.
What do you got? Kind of transitions to what I'm about to say. I think a target you should go for is Justin Fields. Maybe not in the draft, maybe right after the draft, or just extremely late, last pick of the draft. If he can start the season, then I think he has potential to be top 15 quarterback. Obviously, if he has to start halfway through the season or just a couple weeks in, it might be a little tough. But he has the weapons there. He has 2 solid tight ends and a top 10 wide receiver with a possible top 10 running back behind him. And he can run. He's more athletic than Trevor Lawrence. I'll say that. He's just not better. But he has the potential. As long as he's starting, he's something you should look at. Hopefully we know like towards the end of the preseason or halfway through the preseason whether or not he's starting or not.
Yeah, as of right now, I would assume he's not. I would assume Dalton is, but I still think there's a chance that could switch. But yeah, I meant top 15 QB in like terms of like per game, not like obviously if he comes in halfway through the season, he's not going to finish top 15 on that
I don't
last
know.
point
I
there.
don't know what's up with the 49ers and the Bears. They both drafted in the top 10 of quarterback, and neither of them are starting.
Yeah, they got Jimmy G string and Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle.
Porn star Jimmy.
Oh.
Yeah, wild. All right, T-Gods, what do you got for us?
I like to keep these more realistic. I'm going to say David Montgomery is going to finish inside the top 7 again.
That's not realistic.
It is real, but would you rather we say
realistic.
like top 3 or top 5? Like no, like top 7, it could happen. Top 5 probably not.
Could happen.
But 1,500 all-purpose yards last year, 54 receptions, 10 touchdowns. He averaged 20 touches a game. Tariq Cohen starting the season on the PUP list. At minimum 6 games. It's just the Montgomery show. His backup, Damian Williams,
did nothing for the Chiefs. I hated that guy.
He's never had more than 50 rushing attempts in a single season. Never went more than 50 rushing attempts. That's his
Playoff
backup.
Damian.
Like it's all Montgomery. Like it is literally all going to be him until at least week 7, at least.
Yeah, I hear you. I like Dave Montgomery. I think he's my favorite like RB2 target outside of like some of these rookies, or like young guys. Like Dave Montgomery, he's gonna get volume. If he's sitting there where his ADP is right now, I'm taking him every day of the week.
Definitely.
All right, Matt, what you got for us?
All right, man. We touched on this player a little bit, and that is Darnell Mooney. I believe he finishes in the top 30 of wide receivers. I know I said the quarterback play scares me a little bit, but this guy, we saw videos of him routing corners up all season last year. He was just getting overthrown by Foles and Trubisky. I hope you guys are right. I hope Andy Dalton can hit his targets because if he can, Mooney will definitely see a big rise in production this year. The subtraction of Anthony Miller definitely helps because those targets are just going to get spread out between himself and A-Rob. So, and especially if Justin Fields comes into the quarterback position around like week 4 or 5, I just see that even sparking his production even more. So I like Mooney a lot this year. I think he is going to end up being like a flex on a lot of teams this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's definitely one of my favorite late round targets, and I'm going to lead that right into my bold take. I'm going to one up Matt, say Darnell Mooney's going to finish top 25. Low end wide receiver 2.
Excuse me.
Upside here. Mooney, I love him a lot this year. Pretty much everything Matt said. Just tack it on. Anthony Miller's gone. That's like 49 catches last year, another 400 some yards. Mooney already had 61 catches last year as a rookie on an offense with terrible quarterback play. Even I think Andy Dalton is a slight upgrade personally over Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky and not knowing who's going to start every week. So give me Darnell Mooney, especially where he's being drafted. You could easily get a steal. He's worth the risk where you're taking him, no doubt.
Mooney.
Miss Mooney.
I was just going to say, you remember Miss Mooney?
Miss Mooney. There was 2 Miss Moonies. They were both bad.
Yeah, the redhead one too.
Yeah, Spanish helper teacher.
All right, the podcast is going way off the rails. Let's get into the most interesting team in this division, the Green Bay Packers.
Almost wasn't.
Go Pack.
Almost wasn't. Almost was similar to the Lions here. But this past week, it seems like Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams both came back down to their senses. So they're going to run it back one more time for their last dance.
Last dance, baby.
I mean, I really don't compare it to winning their 6th title. It's more of losing in the NFC Championship again. It's another last dance, I guess you could say. But I guess they're running it back one more time. So since Aaron Rodgers is staying in Green Bay for another season, where are you ranking him after his MVP season last year? 3.
No reason not to. There's no reason not to. It's the same exact team, dude.
Yeah.
Without Jamal Williams.
It's the same team. I got him at 5, so a little bit lower. I think the whole team is obviously they're running it back, but they were super good last year, performed above expectations. Now have to play a little bit of a tougher schedule. We'll see. I still think Aaron Rodgers top 5. Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. You're going to draft him.
How do you think Broncos fans feel?
a little upset.
They're sick.
Or Raiders fans.
They went out sad.
Yeah, they're down bad. Any team that thought they were getting Rodgers is down bad, and
Yeah.
Packers fans are on cloud nine that they don't have to watch Jordan
The
Love
Bucs-
throwing to Lazard and MVS and
They just
MVS
had
St. Brown.
The Bucs just won the finals. Now they get A-Rod back. Good couple weeks for them.
Are you saying
What?
like bandwagons here?
No, I'm like Milwaukee Bucks fans. They're
Oh,
probably
Bucks.
Bucks fans.
Dude, well, we're all talking about football. I'm thinking
Yeah,
the Tampa
I'm like
Bay
the
Bucks. I'm like,
Buccaneers.
what are
What?
you talking about, dude?
No.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely a good week for Bucks fans. Good week for Milwaukee fans, people in that area in general.
If they win the
Wisconsin.
Super Bowl, if they go out of the Super Bowl like the Bulls, actual last dance shit, that'd be.
Aaron
crazy.
Rodgers is going to stay in Green Bay if they win the Super Bowl.
What's funny
don't
is that
think he
Robert
is.
Tunyon felt the need to actually post a story too as Dennis Rodman.
Yo, stop hating on my man.
All right,
He's better than Gronk last year.
getting to the next player here.
He was like the second option.
Looks like Rodgers is staying in Green Bay. Is Devontae Adams the clear-cut wide receiver one in fantasy?
Clear as day.
No.
I don't think it's clear, dude. I'm not gonna try
I
and
like
persuade
Reek.
I'm not gonna try and persuade someone that he's not number one, or like that he is number one. But I lost myself. But
I
no,
hear you.
like, I'm not gonna argue with someone. Like if they have him at number one, I'm not gonna be like, dude, he's not number
Yeah.
one. Like
And there's no way you're going to be able to sway them to think otherwise because, I mean, he was number one quite by far last
Yeah.
year. I think he had, 18 touchdowns? That's unreal.
Yeah,
And
monster
he
red
missed-
zone target.
Didn't he miss like 2 or 3 games or something?
Yeah.
I think he did miss like 2
Like,
games.
He's
Dude,
unreal.
he was insane last
I think
year.
he came back and just dropped the 50 bomb.
Crazy.
Yeah. I've got him ranked
Killed
number
me in the
one.
chat.
I don't know if it's clear cut though. I wouldn't say. It's
I mean, we
clear
just
cut,
said
but I
about
think you have to
Rodgers.
draft him as the best.
We're running back with Rodgers. He's the same team. He's going to be number 2 or whatever you guys said. So why can't Adams be number 1?
Yeah, why can't he? You
Why
never
can't
know.
Like game.
All right, with everything staying put as it is with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams back in town, will there be a consistent second wide receiver on this team this season?
No.
Valdez Scantling, Alan Lazard, St. Brown, Devin Funches.
I wish there would be, but there's not.
Yeah.
As much as I want to see Lazard perform well, like I know he can, he doesn't. I feel like he has one good game in the beginning of the season. Then you pick him up, and then he gets hurt, and then you're just waiting for him to come back, and then he just shits the bed some more.
Yeah.
That's what happened last season.
MVS and Lazard, they like flip-flopped who wanted to be
Mhm.
relevant, and then neither just were consistent. It'd be one or the other.
Yeah, I think they're all great guys for best ball leagues. That's the only time I would draft them, any of them, because Aaron Rodgers can make any of those guys a wide receiver one any given week, but I don't think any of them are going to have any consistency whatsoever.
Or
So,
you can make them a wide receiver none because he seems to have a short leash with all these guys. Like you drop a ball, he's not throwing to your ass ever
exactly.
again.
Yeah. Get out of here. Apparently he wants him to trade for Randall Cobb too. So
Yeah, that's any request. Like I'm not coming back
According
unless
to
you
Trey
bring back
Wingo.
40-year-old Randall Cobb. Might as well bring back Jordy Nelson too.
Yeah,
Oh,
Randall
just
Cobb
run it
is
all
a
back.
monster in Green Bay.
Yeah,
Every
that would be
era of
hilarious.
Packers to win the Super Bowl. Ahmad Green, bring him back too.
Donald
Yeah,
Dar's
bring them
gonna
all
be the
back.
backup.
Brett
Greg
Favre.
Jennings.
Yeah, and James Jones.
Yeah, just bring up the whole Packers team. That's what Aaron Rodgers wants. Just bring everybody back for one more ride.
Except Eddie Lacy. Keep his fat ass in here.
Oh, dude, he sucked.
Yeah, he was like right here and then just tanked.
Plummeted.
Yeah, and his weight went up here.
Yeah, it just
Wait
crossed.
up, production down.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's do some cap or no cap for the Packers. First one, Aaron Jones is being drafted too low as RB9. Cap or no cap?
No cap. I'll say first. No
Technically,
cap.
You
I
said
have
this
Is
is
there, is there like
no?
a wash?
I have
Like
him at
a
RB10.
cap? There's no cap here. Because I think that's like right where he should be drafted.
Then yeah, it's no cap. I mean, or then it's cap, right? It's being drafted too low.
That's what I'm saying.
That would be
Alright.
cap. That would be cap.
Yeah, it's cap.
Then cap.
He's being drafted right where he needs to be, according to you.
Yes. Because I'm getting technical.
I agree. That's kind of where I have him too. I have him right at the end of that RB1, low end RB1 tier. He obviously has top 5 upside. We saw it last year. But AJ Dillon's creeping back there.
Chill.
Them
what?
thighs are creeping.
No,
Them
no,
thighs
no,
are creeping.
no
bro.
threat.
He's in the
No
Jamal Williams
threat,
range.
No threat.
I don't think he takes over a
There.
job.
Oh, hell no. I mean, Q thinks differently, but
Yeah,
I
I mean,
don't
they
think
paid
so
Aaron Jones
either.
a ton of money.
Free Aaron Jones, they freed him.
Yeah, they freed him. They freed him and paid him.
definitely did for
Paid him
him.
what he deserved.
Now they
All right.
need a free A-Rod.
Yeah. Well,
Literally.
not now. He's staying.
Well, not anymore.
Cap or no cap, Robert Tonyan should be considered a top 7 tight end with Aaron Rodgers back after finishing as a tight end 3 last year.
Nah.
Matt.
I was waiting. I just wanted to hear what Q had to say.
I have
He
Matt
hates Tonyan.
tight end. I have him at 10.
I gotta make it.
I thought I had him a lot lower.
Yeah, I have him right at 8 with you, Sean. So, I mean, and like you said, Aaron Rodgers can turn anyone into a superstar any given week. We saw weeks where Tonyan had multiple touchdowns with a couple big catches. So, and I still believe he is a number 2 receiving option on this team. We went over the other wide receiver options other than Devontae Adams. None of them are real appealing. And I think that Rodgers likes Tonyan. He's a big, reliable body, especially in the red zone. If it's not going to Devontae Adams, 10 times out of 10, it's going to Tonyan.
Yeah. 11 touchdowns last year. If he gets 10 plus again, easily is going to be an elite tight end. So he's definitely worth a shot. I don't have him in the top 7, but I might move him in the top 7. So he's right there for me. All right. Cap or no cap, AJ Dillon will play the Jamal Williams role this season and should be drafted as one of the top 5 handcuffs in the league.
No cap.
Okay.
Ooh.
No cap that he should be drafted as a top 5 handcuff. And I don't really know much of AJ Dillon. I've never really seen him play, so I don't know if he's like a receiving back out of the backfield or if he's going to take catches away from
I got you. 2017 in college, 0 receptions. 2018, 8 receptions. 2019, 13 receptions.
He got just like a plunger. He just loves bringing up bold shit.
I'm the numbers guy. That's all.
Wait, that was good.
Yeah, you're not wrong. He's definitely not a pass catching back. I don't know if he doesn't have the ability or whatnot. I definitely think Aaron Jones secures that role. But
yeah, he's never caught a football.
I think you need to draft AJ Dillon. He's the next guy in line. I think he's a top 5 handcuff for sure.
Handcuff for sure. But I don't think he's going to I agree with T-Gods in the sense that he's not going to take very much production away from Aaron Jones.
Yeah, I think he could, if Aaron Jones eventually moves on, whatever, AJ Dillon's got the upside to be a poor man's Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Top 10 running back, 247 pounds. That dude is a monster.
He's a Mack truck.
Yeah, he is a Mack truck. Quadzilla, whatever you want to call
truck deluxe.
Definitely draft AJ Dillon in all leagues, in my opinion. He needs to be on benches everywhere. All right, let's get into our bold takes, favorite targets. I know we'll touch on AJ Dillon and a couple others a little more here. So Q, start us off. Continue the AJ Dillon talk.
Yeah,
here.
it's funny how it's going right into my take. So I think first of all, AJ Dillon is at least the top 2 handcuff to own, if not 1. I forgot about Kareem Hunt, but I really don't care. I think AJ Dillon's on a much better team than Kareem Hunt.
His takes are flying everywhere.
I think AJ Dillon has more touchdowns and more touches than Aaron Jones coming into this year. I think Aaron Jones will probably score more fantasy points. That's fine. But AJ Dillon being the bigger guy, he's going to obviously take all the goal line work for sure. He may not be the pass catching guy, so that's where Aaron Jones is going to get his points, the big screen plays for touchdowns. But Aaron Jones last year had 200 attempts rushing. So I think that AJ Dillon will have at least over 150. There was a poll that I saw, and there was a majority that agreed with me. So I think it's possible. Yeah, best handcuff to own. Will score more touchdowns than Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones dropped off from the previous year, but that's kind of easy when he scored 16. If you both want to say something, I see your mouths quivering.
Bro, that's the worst take ever.
We'll see. I'm not saying he's going to be better than Aaron Jones.
You literally basically just said that Aaron Jones is losing his job to AJ Dillon.
No.
More touches and more touchdowns?
Well, I think he meant more carries.
Yeah. I think he could score more touchdowns and Aaron Jones still be the running back to own.
Okay. I respect it. Jamal Williams had 130
rushing touchdowns, dude.
Yeah, I don't know if they go away from Aaron Jones in the red zone, but obviously AJ Dillon's built to be a goal line back. So
10
I
yards
wouldn't be
in,
shocked
They're
if he
giving it
gets
to
some.
AJ Dillon
Um,
if they ever
Q?
get 10 yards in.
Spicy take. If you're right at the end of the season, we're gonna come back to this clip and just feel insane.
That would
I'll
not
save it
have
now.
aged
I'll buy
well.
you an AJ Dillon jersey.
You might have to get it from him personally. 'Cause I don't think they sell this. Well, maybe they do now, but
They probably have some of them somewhere, dude.
At
Get
the
one
end of the
custom made
season,
for
if
you.
your prediction's right, they're
Yeah,
selling
right.
them everywhere. They'll be flying off shelves.
we'll
Yeah,
take
all
a
those
trip to
touchdowns.
Green Bay.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, T-Gods, what do you got for us?
All right, favorite target. There's a lot of stacks that people like. You know, you got the Mahomes, Tyreek, you got the Diggs and Allen, Aaron Rodgers, Kyler and D-Hop. That's another good one. Aaron Rodgers and that other dude. What's his name? The receiver.
Alan Lazard.
No, the other
Pretty
one.
decent one. Oh, Randall Cobb.
No. Devontae Adams. Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams. That's the stack you want to go for. In 6-point touchdown leagues last year, they were giving you 53 points together every week. Free 53 points. Just here. 53 points everywhere.
Elite.
Yeah, you want Aaron Rodgers
With
and
Matt and the chip that was split in half.
Devontae Adams.
My half didn't win. My name should be going on that trophy. But
Devontae Adams said nope.
It wasn't in my card. No, Ryan Tannehill said nope when he turned into Usain Bolt.
That was crazy.
That was crazy. All right, Matt. Build right off of T-God's take with Aaron Rodgers and Adams here.
I will. I'm going to go with the half of the stack that I had last year, repeating what he did last year, and that's A-Rod finishing top 5. I mean, T-God's touched on it. He's coming back to the exact same offense. He has literally all he needs is Devontae Adams. He proved that last year. He threw him 18 touchdowns. Tunyon had 11 sprinkled in there. The other names are just like dart throws. He could just throw it up, make him catch it because he has that power. He's Aaron Rodgers. So I just don't see how he doesn't finish at least top 5 again this year.
I like it.
I like it too.
I love it.
I respect it.
And I feel like he's going to be playing because he kind of wants this to be his last year in Green Bay. So he's going to be like, this is what you guys are missing, and you fucked it all up for yourselves.
If the Eagles have no chance this year, I'm rooting for the Packers to win it just for Aaron Rodgers to go out with that bang. That'd be the ultimate bang.
Bang. Yeah, I agree. Aaron Rodgers is definitely going to be good this year. However, my take is a little bit different. It's not super bold to say what I'm about to say, but I think all of the Packers' key players drop compared to where they finished last year. I know we said not much changed. A little bit changed here and there. They lost a couple key guys. Corey Linsley, their center. He ended up moving on as well. But either way, Aaron Rodgers was top 3. I don't think he finishes top 3. I do think he does finish top 5, though. So just drops a little bit here and there. Adams was number 1, probably more of just a top 5 guy, maybe top 3 again. I don't think he gets back-to-back number 1 seasons. Aaron Jones won't be top 5 again. He will be top 10, though. He'll still be good. And Tunyon will not be top 3. He'll be top 10 probably. So they're all going to be good. Still going to be a very good offense. I think they have a little bit of a tougher schedule this year. And I don't think they go as crazy as they did last year. I still like all of them, but I think they all just moved down slightly after such a good season last year.
Not as dramatically as if Jordan Love was going to be the starter.
Oh my God. Jesus. Jordan Love was the starter and Devontae Adams left. This team would have been
would be a whole lot different tonight. If we were talking about Jordan Love, if Aaron Rodgers plays, if Aaron Rodgers isn't there, like we'd be talking a lot different. We're very positive for the Packers tonight.
Yeah, got to be a little bit positive here with the Packers. Looks like we have one more question to be brought up here. What do we got?
I have a question.
All right.
Are Pop-Tarts raviolis?
No.
No?
In a sense.
All right.
They're not raviolis.
They're kind of raviolis.
They're kind of raviolis, dude.
They're kind of like tart raviolis.
Mm-hmm.
Well, then is a hot dog a sandwich?
Yes.
No.
It's in between a bun.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. I feel like a sandwich has to have two different
things
come in on it. No one separates their hot dog buns.
They need to start making the buns separate.
Ew.
Hamburger
buns fall right out.
Hamburger buns come together.
Yeah, I don't know. Hamburger is a hamburger sandwich.
It is. It is.
Cereal's a soup.
Cereal's definitely a soup.
Is ramen soup?
Yes.
No. Noodles.
Kinda. Depends how much liquid you like in your ramen.
Yeah,
Some people
No
eat
liquid.
that dry.
Liquids.
Fuck the
No
broth.
liquid. Yeah,
No
it's not
liquid.
soup.
but it's still a
No
soup.
liquid.
Then it's not soup. Then
There
it's
was
pasta.
liquid in there at one point.
Whatever. All right. Way off the rails. Let's get into the division winner. I think we all know who's winning this division, but what do you guys got?
Packers. Thanks, Aaron Rodgers.
Thanks, Aaron. We love you.
Matt, even in the Vikings jersey, taking the Packers too?
Hell
take
yeah.
that
Bring
off.
out the
I'm not-
broom.
I'm a Dow fan, not a dummy.
Yeah, I'm taking the Packers as well. I do think the Vikings do get a wild card spot, though. I do think they will be close and very competitive. I don't think it's the Bears, and it's definitely not the Lions.
Definitely not.
They have a chance.
I think the Lions are closer to 0-17 than 5-11 or whatever.
Yeah.
5-12. Sorry. They're going to be a
agree.
rough.
Worst team in the league. Worst record.
Bottom
They'd
five.
officially be the worst team ever because they'd have the most losses ever.
They could be.
Yeah,
Extra game. The new
they
worst
never
team
made
ever.
the playoffs, man. That team, that poor team.
Yeah.
Feel
Not
bad
be a
for
Detroit.
Wait,
Detroit.
Stafford made it to the playoffs once.
Yeah, but like barely. Like even with Stafford, they made the playoffs like a handful of times and did nothing.
I thought you said they never made it.
No, I said they never, like almost never, I guess I should say.
I see.
All right, G,
At
what do
least
you
they
got
get
for
to
your
watch
joke
them on
of the
Christmas
week?
every year.
Thanksgiving, you mean, I think, right?
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
whatever.
always Thanksgiving, which is going to be so ass this year. No Stafford. Just to watch Jared Goff on Thanksgiving. Q, what do you got with us? I'm trying to laugh.
So
Joke of the week.
a weasel walks into the bar, and the bartender says, "I've never seen a weasel in here. What can I get you?" Pop goes the weasel.
I liked it. I liked it.
I liked it. It wasn't as much of a belly laugh as
Yeah, it wasn't
LMAO.
very funny, but it was good.
It made sense. It was
what
punny.
color? What color's the wind? Blue.
Ah.
Oh, it's good.
I like that one.
I
like
guess
that one
not
better.
to start keeping two in my holster.
Well, you just got to make sure you start off with the bad one, because if you start off with a good one and then just drop to a bad one, and it's
Yeah, you're right.
then you're down bad.
I'm just
Maybe-
mad that the weasel went into a bar and ordered a soda.
You ordered a pop.
Soda pop.
All right, that's a wrap for the Super Fantasy Bros this week. Make sure you are following us on Twitter at Super FB Podcast. Make sure you're following us on Instagram at Super Fantasy Podcast. Subscribe on YouTube. We are putting out way more content there. If you weren't here for the whole Twitch stream, we'll have it all broken up in multiple videos for each team, so you can check out the breakdown for your favorite team. Make sure you follow us on TikTok as well. We're posting more clips there, more content there, keeping that active, and we will be
Get
back.
some merch.
Yeah, get some merch too. Don't
1
forget
week.
about that.
Merch.
You got 1 week left to get in.
What is
so
it?
make sure-
August 5th, the cutoff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So make sure you get that in, and we will be back next week with the NFC West. So we will see you then.
Wow, West.
Yeehaw.